secret to how your mind works on the golf course. Why do shots veer offline when you know you've executed well? Well, the answer lies in three things going on in your mind, whether you're aware of it or not. They are attention, working memory, and decision making. Let's go over each of them. Attention is the ability to identify relevant information and ignore the rest. It steers perception and controls your reality. And in golf, it provides the foundation for your focus. Scientifically, attention can be broken down into top-down and bottom-up. Top-down attention involves control from the higher cognitive areas of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex, which is what we want. It allows you to exercise good judgment. You can use it to beat down the fearful fight or flight instincts of the animal brain, but sometimes it's challenging to do so because that animal brain is so strong. Really, your attention needs to be focused intently to prevail. Now, bottom-up attention is where you're distracted by the environment, such as the wind, a loud noise. It pops up and pulls your focus away. It's especially hard to overcome these environmental issues when there are multiple ones or you're experiencing fatigue, which is why occasionally you see people zone out and do things like walk into objects or not be able to respond to a conversation. They're just neurocognitively overloaded. In the golf context, fatigue and multiple kinds of environmental interferences can cause players to just give up on trying to gather information about their shot or execute their pre-shot routine. And then they apply a thoughtless swing with an inevitable poor result. You need focused attention, but remember, it drains energy. You'll hit dozens of shots an hour. On the upside, you'll benefit from having to apply focus only during the narrow windows because there's so much wait time between shots. Those delays are very helpful as they give you time to rest and prepare. But you really need to self-manage, as there usually are no teammates or coaches on the course to help you out. Your goals are to maintain stamina and avoid attention drift during those critical moments. You need to stretch out your ability to concentrate over the whole course. I suggest a highly focused, tunneled vision concentration on the target when the time is right to beat down distractions from the environment as well as fatigue. It may not need to last long, but the benefits of it can pay big dividends. Working memory is on constantly, and it temporarily holds information in your awareness. If your working memory goes off for any reason, it's called a coma. So if you're not comatose, you can feel good that your working memory is intact. The biggest issue with working memory is that it's limited, really much more so than people realize. I often see players overestimate its capacity by thinking that they can remember too much, and unfortunately, they really can't. And it's even more restricted if you have an injury, as additional focus goes on that. It also can be restricted if you're hungry or you're thirsty, which is why I recommend that you check out our Sharp Focus Nutrition website and product. Anyway, it's one of the reasons that you can't be effective while thinking about more than just one or two things during your 2-second golf swing. And know that sometimes that one or two things might be physiologic and unconscious, like the need to go to the bathroom, hunger, thirst, as we touched on, exhaustion, any of those things, an injury, pain, all of those things are going to pull away from your working memory. So how does your working memory operate? Have you ever forgotten your keys or looked around your house or apartment and then found that they were just in your hand? It's because your working memory had reached its capacity and you couldn't maintain the thought of the keys being in your hand. How many times have you heard someone describe an event by saying, I don't know what occurred because it happened just so quickly? That's because life comes at us very fast. And the objective of working memory is to take all of that amorphous flow of happenings and make sense of it. Like I said though, if there's too much in your working memory, it's going to break down. In golf, it's operating at full tilt during your pre-shot routine as you evaluate conditions and prepare for your swing. All of us are meaning-making machines, and we want to understand working memory. A couple of things can help us. Organization and routine breeds familiarity. So during your pre-shot routine, develop a structure and maybe a sequence for how you pay attention. Say you look at the target first, get yardage, and consider weather conditions and moisture on the ground. And then turn to distance and club selection. Whatever sequence feels right for you, it will give you comfort and enable your working memory to maximize its effectiveness. And use as many of your senses as you can. Studies show that they can expand your working memory. For example, you can use hearing by talking through a shot out loud. Alternatively, if you're a visual learner, try to visualize as much as practical. Visualization should already be part of your pre-shot routine, but do more of it. In terms of smell, take a deep breath and take in the fragrance of the course. You may sense freshly cut grass or recently laid fertilizer. And finally, touch the grip of your club. It should bring back memories of how shots felt as you move through impact. Your senses expand your working memory, so use them to your advantage. In summary, leverage your working memory through organization, routines, and use of your senses. It'll help you process information better. And finally, decision making. Have you heard the adage, think before you speak? Well, in golf, the corollary is think before you swing. Everything you do before making decisions about your shot is super important. Always start by challenging the information you've identified to be certain that it's valid. This is especially important if you have a caddy who's also giving you information. For instance, you have to question, is the wind direction and distance that I've calculated correct? Don't let small details be your downfall. Use the data you're comfortable with to develop options to pick from, and use your experience and working memory to select the best option as your decision. But beware of cognitive exhaustion. It occurs after a brief period of extended decision making, and when it hits you, you're more likely to be impulsive. Everything the body does requires energy, and everyone has a daily threshold for expenditure of it. You need to identify when you've reached yours. It always turns on frequency in a complexity of decisions already made. And finally, post-round reviews of all decisions should occur, so you learn from them. You may not have known exactly what you didn't know at the time you made the judgment, but now you do after the fact, and you can learn from your mistake. You make hundreds of decisions on the course each round, and if you learn from them, you'll improve and you'll get an edge on your playing partners. In summary, the secret to golf performance is in your mind, and you need to know the secret for how it works. You must maintain attention so that you can take in information about the environment and upcoming shot, apply working memory to make meaning of it, and then process it timely so that you can identify options and ultimately make very good decisions. Sharp, crisp shots will ultimately follow.